I need to ask you something before we begin, and I need you to answer it honestly, even if only to yourself. How many of these have you seen? How many divine messages? How many letters from heaven? How many urgent transmissions from Archangel Michael have appeared in your feed today alone? 2, 5, maybe more than you stopped to count. I know, because I receive them too. Every single day, this inbox, this table, is covered in letters claiming urgency, claiming that today is the day, claiming that the message inside was written specifically for you. And most of the time, I open them, I read them, and then I set them down because something in me, something that has been trained by years of sitting at this exact table, says, this is not the one. This is general. This is for everyone, so it is for no one in particular. And I move to the next envelope. And then there are the ones like this. This arrived this morning in a separate outer package, not with the others, not through the usual channel. It was addressed in a way I have not seen before, not to me, not to a name. The outer label read 4 words. 4 words that I have been turning over in my mind since the moment I read them. It said, do not open first. That was it. Nothing else. Just do not open this one first. As though whatever was inside knew it would arrive alongside others. As though it knew it needed to be last. As though it was not afraid of being passed over, because it knew it could not be. I opened everything else before I touched this, and when every other envelope had been read and set aside, this was still here, still sealed, still waiting. And I will tell you something I do not say about every letter that comes through this table. When I finally held this envelope in both hands, something happened in my chest that I do not have a clean clinical word for. Something that felt like the difference between reading about a place and actually arriving there. Like the air in the room changed. I stood here for almost 2 full minutes before I had the steadiness to break the seal. I have opened hundreds of these letters. I can tell you with certainty, not hope, not wishful thinking, certainty, that the difference between the ones that are meant for everyone and the one that is meant for you is unmistakable when you encounter it. The rest of them reach for you. This one was already waiting when you arrived, and if something in you paused on this video, if something in you is still here right now instead of scrolling, then what I felt when I held this envelope is already happening in you too. Your spirit recognized it before your mind could process why. Inside this envelope, there is a USB drive containing the complete divine message. Everything Archangel Michael was sent to deliver today, in full. There is a printed letter with every word of that transmission. There are photographs and declaration cards she placed here specifically for the moments when words alone are not enough. And you will see every one of them as we go. And there is this, a pressed flower. I do not know what kind it is, but the moment I opened the outer packaging this morning, before I saw the flower, before I read a single word, I smelled something, not a perfume, something older than perfume, something that does not come from a bottle, something that belongs to a specific memory in a specific person's past. And I knew, the way you know certain things without being able to justify the knowing, that this scent was not an accident. It was placed there deliberately from the other side for the person this letter was always going to reach. I am going to place this USB drive into the display now, and the letter is going to begin. And I need to tell you one thing she specifically asked me to say before the first word plays. She said, "Dorothy, tell them that I saved the most important thing I have ever said for the very last minutes. Tell them that the people who stay until the end will understand something that the people who leave early will spend years trying to find. Every letter that passes through this table asks people to stay, but none of them have ever put it to me that way before. She did not ask you to stay for her sake. She asked you to stay for yours, because what she is holding back until the end, she said, is the thing that changes everything. Whatever it costs you in time today, stay."
Hear me. What is happening in this precise moment is not ordinary. It is not accidental, and it will not repeat itself on any other day in any other hour if you walk away from it now. This exact convergence of your attention and this message and this specific transmission of divine authority was engineered. It was constructed with precision. It was held in sacred reserve until today, and today alone, because today is the only day in which the celestial conditions required to deliver it were fully, completely, and perfectly aligned. I am Archangel Michael, warrior of the Most High, commander of the celestial armies that stand between you and every force that has ever sought your destruction, guardian of the threshold between this world and the Eternal One. I have existed since before the first atom of this universe was spoken into being, and I have stood watch over more human souls than you have the capacity to count. And when I tell you, directly, with the full weight of everything I am, that what is happening today is extraordinary, understand that I do not use that word carelessly. I do not soften my declarations to make them comfortable. I speak only what is true. And the truth is this: today, a soul who loves you with a ferocity that no grave, no distance, no dimension, and no passage of time has been able to reduce by a single measure, reached the Creator with her petition. Today, after pressing heaven with her intercessions from the moment she arrived on the other side, the answer came back. Today, the Creator looked at the accumulated weight of her love and her prayers and her relentless, unwavering mother's heart advocacy for you. And he said, "Yes, send Michael, today. She is your mother, and she has been fighting for this moment since before you knew you needed it. Do not mistake what I am telling you for comfort. This is not a message designed to soothe you with soft words. This is a summons, a formal notification that the spiritual architecture of your life is changing today. Not gradually, not eventually, not when circumstances allow, but in this hour, right now, as these words move from this transmission into the center of your chest. The change is not coming. The change is already happening. She did not randomly point at this day on the calendar. She did not guess. The Creator operates on a system of timing that human logic does not have full access to, a calendar of spiritual permeability, where specific days carry the capacity for dimensional communication that ordinary days cannot sustain. Today is one of those days. Today, the membrane between her world and yours is at its most permeable. Today, the channel is fully open, and she has been standing at this threshold, prepared, holding everything she has to say, waiting for this precise window. Since the moment it appeared on that celestial calendar, the prayers she sent up for you, every single one of them, every whispered petition, every urgent intercession, every time she laid your name before the Creator and said, "My child needs this. My child deserves this. Please, not for my sake, but for theirs." Every one of those prayers accumulated over time into a force that could not be ignored, could not be delayed indefinitely, could not be held back any longer. Today, that accumulated force was released, like a river that has been building behind a dam for years, and the dam breaks, and everything that was held back rushes forward all at once. You are not watching this message because an algorithm suggested it. You are watching it because she pressed the attention of heaven toward you until your eyes found the screen. The pause that made you stop and watch, that was her. The curiosity that kept you from scrolling, that was her. The inexplicable sense that this message was somehow different from everything else in your feed today, that was her. She placed her hand between your eyes and this screen before you were even fully aware you were watching, and she said, "This one, not another. This one, today." And here you are, exactly where she positioned you, in exactly the moment she secured. Now, receive what she sent.
Before the letter continues, she placed this image inside the envelope specifically for this moment. This is the first of several photographs and messages she prepared for you to hold in your hands today. Look at it. Do not rush past it. She chose every detail of what you are seeing, because what is shown here is not decoration. It is evidence of where this letter is coming from and who is behind it. Receive it. Then we continue.
Before I carry a letter to any soul on this earth, I am granted access to the full celestial record, the complete, unedited, unfiltered account of who that person truly is. Not the version they present to the world, not the version filtered through fear and performance and the relentless pressure to appear acceptable. The actual account, the full truth of who a person is at the level of their soul, stripped of every mask, every armor, every defensive layer constructed by a lifetime of surviving what life demands. I opened your account today, and I am going to tell you what it says, because you have been listening to a false account for too long. You have been reading a version of yourself written by your wounds, narrated by your grief, annotated by the voices of people who did not understand your value. That version is wrong. And today, with the authority vested in me by the Creator of everything that exists, I am replacing it with a true account. The first line of your celestial record does not begin with your failures. It does not open with a catalog of your shortcomings. The first line, the line that defines how heaven identifies you, reads as follows: faithful, under, extraordinary, pressure, not tried sometimes, not did adequately, faithful. The heavens make a sharp and irrevocable distinction between the faith that exists in comfortable conditions and the faith that burns on after everything comfortable has been stripped away. Your record shows the second kind, the harder kind, the rarer kind. Faith tested in a furnace at temperatures that would have extinguished anything less genuine, and which continued to burn. Smaller some days, quieter on the worst ones, but never fully out. When your mother stood beside me and read that first line, faithful under extraordinary pressure, she placed her hand over her heart and said 4 words. I always knew it. Not with surprise, with vindication, as though she had been defending that truth about you for years, against forces that tried to convince you otherwise. And the celestial record was simply confirming what she never stopped believing. Now hear what else your record contains, because this is the part that will dismantle something false you have been believing about yourself for far too long. The registry documents a specific count. In the years since she has been gone, in the hardest years, the loneliest years, the years when the weight of accumulated loss made the simple act of continuing feel like the most unreasonable demand life had ever placed on you. There were 17 distinct moments when you stood at the complete edge of surrender, not to faith, to despair. 17 moments when the convergence of grief and exhaustion and loneliness and unanswered prayer made total collapse feel not just possible, but almost merciful. And in every single one of those 17 moments, something in you refused, not with drama, not with a warrior's battle cry, quietly, barely. One more breath, one more morning, one more day of putting one foot in front of the other, when everything inside you screamed, stop. The Celestial Registry has a specific designation for those moments. It calls them acts of sacred defiance. Every time you chose to continue when every pain signal said, stop, the heavens recorded it not as mere survival, but as an act of spiritual courage, as a deliberate, powerful, defiant refusal to be broken by things that should not have the authority to break you. 17 acts of sacred defiance. 17 times you stood in the dark and chose the next morning. 17 times the eternal record was updated with another mark of distinction beside your name. She witnessed every single one of those 17 moments. She said, Michael, on the darkest of those nights, especially on the 3 or 4 where I was most afraid for them, I pressed everything I am against the boundary between my world and theirs. I could not hold them with physical hands the way I used to, but I wrapped the full force of my love around them from the other side, and I said, not yet. You are not finished. I have not finished with you yet. And they felt it. They might not have known it was me, but something shifted, and they chose the next breath. She paused. Then she said, with a certainty that silenced every voice in the celestial gallery, every single time. They chose the next breath every single time, and that is the bravest thing I ever watched a human being do. Those 17 moments were not weakness. They were the most courageous acts of your entire life, and heaven recorded every one of them under your name.
Stop. Read this. She had this printed and placed in this envelope because she knew that at this point in the letter, your mind would try to argue with what you just heard. She is not allowing that. This text is her direct response to your doubt. Read every word. Before the letter moves into its next section, I want to show you one more thing she left in this envelope. This flower. I researched it this morning after it arrived because I needed to understand why this specific flower was chosen above everything else she could have included. What I found is this particular flower, small, pale, extraordinarily delicate, is known in several cultures, including traditions across Latin America, Southern Europe, and parts of the Celtic world, as a flower specifically associated with souls who have crossed over, but have refused to release their connection to the living. It is called, in those traditions, a flower of continued presence, not of death, of love that persists beyond death, of a soul that is close enough to still leave something in your physical hands. She left this for you. I cannot explain the mechanism. I can only tell you that it was inside the sealed envelope when it arrived, and the letter itself instructs. And I am reading directly from the printed page. If they need something real to hold while they listen, let them hold something small and fragile, because that is what my love feels like from this side of eternity. Not gone, transformed, small enough to be held, delicate enough to be felt, real enough to bring them to their knees.
Understand this. She has not been silent since the day she crossed over. Let me be absolutely clear. She has never been silent. The notion that death creates an absence, that the ones who cross over simply cease their engagement with the people they love, is one of the most damaging lies this world perpetuates against grieving souls. It is not true. And I am Archangel Michael, standing before you today in the full authority of my divine commission. And I am telling you directly, she has been communicating with you every single day since she left, actively, deliberately, continuously, with the same fierce intention that defined every act of love she ever performed for you while she was alive in a body. You did not notice all of it. That is not your failure. The communications came through channels that your conscious mind was trained by the material world to dismiss. The channels were real. The messages were real. And today, I am going to name every one of them, so that from this point forward, you cannot dismiss them, because you will know exactly what they were. The first language she commands is the language of sound, not audible voices. The dimensional boundary does not permit full vocal transmission in the waking state, but sound at its subtler frequency. Have you heard your own name spoken, not shouted, not called across a room, but murmured tenderly, just at the outer edge of your awareness, in those specific seconds between sleeping and waking, when the armor of your conscious mind has not yet fully re-engaged and the boundary between dimensions is at its most transparent? That was not your imagination. That was not the tail end of a fading dream. That was her. She positions herself at the exact threshold of your waking consciousness, and she speaks your name into the space just beside your ear. Because in those seconds, her voice can pass through. Every morning, you have woken with an unexplained sense of peace, with a warmth in your chest that had no logical justification in the circumstances of your life. That peace was her voice landing in your spirit every single time. The second language she commands is the language of music. This one she deploys with extraordinary precision because she discovered early on that music is one of the only forces that completely bypasses the analytical defenses of the human mind and drives directly to the center of the soul. When a specific song reaches you, her song, a song she loved, a song carrying a lyric that speaks exactly what she needs you to know in exactly the moment you need to know it, at a precise moment when it should not logically be playing. In a grocery store, from a neighbor's open window, from a television left on in another room. That song did not arrive by coincidence. She sent it. She coordinated the timing. She arranged the placement. She waits specifically for the moment your guard is down and your heart is accessible. And in that moment, she aims the music directly at you. When it hits you, not like a melody, but like a physical pressure against your chest. When it makes the world go silent for 3 seconds and something deep in you recognizes what is happening before your mind can process it. That recognition is your soul confirming what you already know. She is speaking. The third language she commands is the language of objects, and this one demands your specific attention because it operates through things already in your home. Not new discoveries, old things, familiar things. A photograph you have walked past 100 times that today, for no reason you can identify, makes you actually stop. A small item that was hers, a piece of jewelry, a note in her handwriting, a card she sent, a kitchen object she once touched, that presents itself to your attention with a quality of intention that feels almost staged, as though it moved itself to be noticed. The object did not move, but her attention redirected yours, the way a hand placed gently on the back of the neck turns a face towards something worth seeing. That object, in the moment your eyes land on it and stay, she is in it. She has been filling it with her concentrated presence, the way sunlight fills a glass of water, slowly, completely, until every molecule of it glows with something that is entirely and unmistakably her. The fourth language she commands is the language of living creatures. Animals and children too young to have built the analytical walls that adults maintain do not have the filters that keep adult human consciousness sealed off from the spiritual dimension. They sense the full dimensional field. If an animal near you, your own pet, a neighbor's dog, a bird that lingered too long at a window, a cat that appeared in your yard without reason and stayed, has behaved in a way that was unusually focused, unusually still, unusually attentive to a specific space near you, rather than to you directly. It was not eccentric animal behavior. It was a creature responding to something in the dimensional field that you could not yet see, but which was absolutely present. She was in that space. She was standing there, and the animal was reacting to her. She told me, with genuine delight, "Michael, they do not argue. They do not second-guess what they perceive. If the cat looks at the corner, they look at the corner, and I am in the corner, so I use the cat." There was laughter in her voice, pure, unfiltered maternal delight, because she is still her, even from the other side, still finding the small genius in love. The fifth language she commands is the language of numbers, and she does not use this language mechanically or randomly. She calibrates it. She places specific sequences in specific contexts where they will carry the most precise meaning for you. She said she planted 444 in your path on days when your anxiety was climbing, because 444 is the signal she assigned to being held. To the message, "You are not carrying this alone right now." She placed 111 in your path on mornings when the spiritual realm had opened a new door in your life, to flag it, to say, "Pay attention today. Something is beginning." And she said she placed 333 with complete intentionality, specifically on the evenings and the afternoons when she was closest, not sending a message from a distance, physically, dimensionally present beside you in that room, close enough that in a different dimension you could have reached out your hand and touched her. If you have seen 333 recently, and she told me you have, understand what that means. She was there. She was with you, not a signal, a presence. Stop dismissing these communications. They were never random. Every one of them was sent with purpose, placed with precision, timed by a love that does not sleep and does not give up and does not accept the idea that death has the authority to end what was between you.
She placed this image in the envelope as a portrait of what she has been doing every single day since the moment she left. Look at what you are seeing here. This is not a symbol. This is her reality. This is the active, relentless daily work of a mother who refused to let distance, even eternal distance, separate her from the one she loves. Look at this, and then tell me she is not still here.
Now, I must tell you what she did, not what she felt, not what she hoped for, what she actually did in the celestial realm, on your behalf, in the time since she crossed over, because you deserve to know the full extent of what your mother is willing to fight for when it comes to you. There exists in the heavens a formal process of divine petition, a mechanism by which the departed can bring a case before the Creator on behalf of those they love who are still living on earth. It is not a casual thing. It is not a suggestion box. It is a presentation of evidence before the highest authority in existence, a moment where a soul lays open the complete account of a living person's life and argues, with everything they are, with everything they know, with the full force of their love as evidence, for what that person deserves, not what they have perfectly earned through flawless behavior, what they deserve based on the full totality of who they are, the love they have given, the suffering they have endured, the faithfulness they have maintained, the purpose placed in them before birth that has not yet been fully activated. She brought this petition. She brought it prepared. She did not stand before the Creator and appeal to sentiment. She came with documentation. She laid out the specific, detailed, fully evidenced account of what you have carried, and she presented it not as a complaint, but as a case. The years of grief you absorbed in silence because you did not want to burden the people around you. The love you poured out in volumes that were rarely matched by what was returned to you. The times you showed up for others in their most desperate hours, and then navigated your own desperate hours alone, because the very generosity of your nature made you reluctant to ask for help. The prayers you continued to send upward even when the silence of the response felt unbearable, prayers you kept sending anyway, because something in you would not stop speaking to the divine, even when you could not feel it listening. She documented every single piece of it. She presented it all. And then she told the Creator exactly what she was asking for. She asked for a reversal. That exact word, a reversal of the tide. She said, I am asking that everything in my child's life that has been flowing away from them begins flowing toward them. Every door that closed prematurely, I am asking for it to reopen, or for a better one to appear in its place. Every relationship that drained more than it filled, I am asking for it to transform or be replaced. every opportunity that arrived at the wrong moment or departed before it could be seized. I am asking for those opportunities to return or for greater ones to arrive in their place. I am asking for my child's life to reverse direction. Starting now, starting today, the Creator reviewed the evidence she presented. He granted the petition. Today, the seal on that reversal, the divine authorization that releases the blessing she fought for, was broken today, which is exactly why this message exists, which is exactly why you were guided to it, which is exactly why something in your spirit, if you are paying any attention at all, feels different today than it did yesterday. That is not the influence of hopeful words. That is the actual sensation of a spiritual tide that has been pressing against you for years, finally, irreversibly, turning in your favor. She won her case for you. The verdict arrived today, and the verdict is irrevocable. What has been held back is now being released. What has been flowing away from you is now changing direction. The reversal is active. It is operating in the spiritual realm around your life right now, as these words settle into your understanding.
She specifically asked me to pause the letter here and show you this. Not before, not after. Here, at the exact moment the verdict has just been declared. Read this text. Read it twice, because it is not a wish. It is a decree that was issued in the celestial realm today, and this card is its physical record, placed here in your hands as evidence.
There is one more action she took in that petition before the Creator, and she told me it was more urgent than the reversal itself, more urgent than every blessing that is coming. She said, "Michael, before any abundance can reach them, something has to be dismantled first, because as long as it stands, it will intercept every good thing trying to reach my child and convert it into something they cannot fully receive." She named it precisely. She called it self-condemnation, and she said it has been the most destructive force operating against you, not from outside, not from enemies, not from difficult circumstances, but from inside, from the private, relentless, merciless internal court where you have been prosecuting yourself, silently and without reprieve, for things you were never guilty of in the first place. Hear this with absolute clarity. You have been sitting in judgment of yourself for circumstances that were never within your control. You have been handing down verdicts of guilty for outcomes that no different set of choices on your part could have altered. You have been condemning yourself for moments of imperfection that were simply the ordinary limitations of a human being navigating something overwhelming at the limits of their capacity. And the sentence you keep pronouncing against yourself, over and over in the quiet of your own mind, is the harshest sentence a person can carry. Not enough, not present enough, not brave enough, not loving enough, not enough. That verdict is overturned, right now, by authority higher than any verdict your private court can produce. She appeared before the Creator and the full celestial assembly, and she did something that stopped every angel in the gallery. She formally dropped every charge, not reduced, not mitigated, not commuted to a lesser sentence, dropped entirely. She said, "I do not recognize this prosecution. I refuse to recognize it. Any tribunal that brings charges against my child for these things is a court operating without my testimony, and I am the only one whose testimony matters here. because I am the one they believe they wronged. And I am standing in this assembly to declare, with the full authority of my love and my knowledge and my eternal perspective on everything that happened between us. They wronged me in nothing. Every imperfect moment between us was held in love on my side, entirely, completely, without reservation. Every absence was forgiven before they knew it needed forgiving. Every word that was never spoken was heard at the level of the soul, where words are not required and where love transmits without language. I am the alleged victim. I am dismissing every charge. My child walks free today. That declaration was made. It was witnessed. It was authorized by the Creator. And today, Archangel Michael carries the formal notification of that dismissal directly to you. The charges are dismissed. The case is permanently closed. The guilt you have been carrying as though it were your sentence to serve, it is not. It never was. And it does not belong to you anymore. You are released. Say it. Right now, in whatever voice you can find. Whisper, if that is all you have. Say it out loud. I am released. Let it move through you. Let it break something open. Because that is exactly what it is meant to do. That is exactly what she intended when she stood before the Creator and fought for your freedom with every ounce of her eternal authority. And the moment those charges were dismissed, she turned from the Creator and fixed her attention on you, across every dimension, through every barrier. And she said, with a directness that would have startled you if you had been standing in that gallery, now that they are free, I need them to start moving. I need them to stop standing in an open door, as though the cell still has walls. I need them to walk through the door, into the light, into the life I never stopped praying for them, because that life cannot be entered from the floor of a prison built from guilt I already forgave. Get up. The door is open. I am standing on the other side of it, and I am waiting. That is her command. Get up. The door is open. The light is real. She is already through it, arms open, face forward, waiting for you to follow.
She sent this photograph as a visual declaration of what just happened to you in the celestial realm today. The charges were dismissed. The door was thrown open. Look at this image and understand. This is not a metaphor. This is the reality of what Archangel Michael just delivered to your spirit. The door in this image is the same door she has been standing on the other side of, waiting. Look at it, and then decide, are you going to walk through?
I stated at the opening of this message that she prepared today's delivery with exceptional care. What I withheld, by her specific instruction, because she said you needed to receive sufficient love before you were ready for this, is that she did not arrive at the celestial registry alone today. There is a second soul standing beside her, someone she personally brought to this meeting, someone whose presence in your story was complicated, not because love was absent, but because love between you was never able to fully express itself in the time and the circumstances available to it. Someone with whom the story ended without a proper conclusion, without the words that should have been spoken, without the resolution that both of you deserved, but that life, in its cruelty of timing, simply did not allow. You have thought about this person, perhaps far more than you have ever said aloud to anyone. Because unresolved love, love that is real and deep and mixed with difficulty and confusion and the specific, crushing grief of a goodbye that never fully happened, does not dissolve when a person leaves this world. It does not fade. It concentrates. It becomes, from the other side, extraordinarily clear, because stripped of every ego-driven distortion, every fear-based filter, every pride-constructed wall that the living world makes so easy to hide behind, what remains is always only love. This soul asked your mother to create this opening. They did not know how to reach you from their side without her help, and when they asked, she did not hesitate for a single moment. She said, "Of course. Whatever my child needs to be free, I will arrange it." So this soul steps forward now, through me, through this letter, through this moment that was designed specifically with both of your hearts in mind. They speak from a place of absolute, stripped down, undefended truth. They say, "I know what was left between us. I know the weight of what was not finished, because I carried the same weight from my side, and I carried it far longer than I should have. From here, I can see the complete picture of what we were to each other, every layer of it, the love and the difficulty. And what I see now, without the distortion of fear and pride, and the thousand ways the living world complicates love, is that we mattered to each other, profoundly, in ways that neither of us was ever able to say with the right words at the right time. I wasted too much of that time. I know that, and I cannot get it back. But I can say it now, clearly, without qualification. You mattered to me completely. You were one of the most significant presences my life ever contained, and the way things ended, or did not end, was not the truth of what we were. This is the truth. Significant, loved, unfinished, but not broken. They pause. Then they add quietly, "I was not always what you needed. I own that fully. From here, I can own it completely, because there is no ego left to defend. I am not asking you to erase the hard parts or pretend the difficulty did not exist. I am asking you to allow the love that was also real to occupy the same space as the difficulty, because it was real, and it did not end when I left. It simply became what it always should have been, something clean, something that could finally say what it always meant. Today, that unresolved chapter closes, not because the story was perfect, because love, imperfect love, interrupted love, love that could never find its full voice while it had the chance, does not have to leave things unfinished forever when both sides are finally willing to close the gap. They are willing. Today, you are given the same offering. Today, the incompletion ends, and what takes its place is not emptiness. It is freedom. The specific, luminous, life-changing freedom of setting down a weight that was never entirely yours to carry alone. Now, in the comments below this video, type these two words, "I'm free," not as a performance, as a decree. As the moment you formally receive what was formally issued, the dismissal of every charge, the closing of every unfinished chapter, the release your mother fought for in the highest court that exists. She watches the comments. She told me directly. She said, "Michael, tell them I read every word written there. When I see those 2 words, I will know. I will know the petition landed. I will know my child is free. Type it. Let her see it. And subscribe to Letters from Archangel Michael. Right now." She said, "The next letter is already sealed, already addressed. Subscribing is not a casual click. It is a covenant. The declaration that says, I am present, I am open. I am here for everything heaven still has to send me. Subscribe. Let that be your yes."
She placed this next, immediately after the second soul spoke, because she knows how the mind works. She knows how quickly you will begin to argue yourself back out of the freedom that was just given to you. This card is her counter-argument, her refusal to let you retreat. Read it, and then let it stay in your hands while the letter continues.
Listen carefully. What I am about to describe is not a prediction about what might happen. It is not a conditional promise dependent on your performance of the right rituals. It is a report of what is already actively operating in the spiritual realm surrounding your life, put into irreversible motion by the petition your mother won, effective today, functioning whether or not you can yet see the evidence in the physical world around you. 3 gifts are already in motion. 3, and they are moving with the full momentum of a heavenly decree that cannot be revoked and cannot be blocked by any force in any dimension. The first gift, already in active motion, carries the designation, clarity of purpose. There's been a specific, persistent fog around a particular question in your life. Not necessarily about your identity, you know, at some level, who you are, but about the next step, the specific, concrete, this is what I do next action that keeps emerging from the mist and then dissolving before you can fully grasp it. That fog is being lifted. Today, it lifts the way a morning fog lifts, from the outer edges inward, until you realize that what you could not see has been there the entire time, fully formed, waiting for the fog to clear. Within 14 days, she specified 14, a path forward will become visible with a clarity so direct, so obvious, that you will wonder how you missed it. Because the Creator's instruction for your next step is never complex. It only appeared complicated because the fog made it impossible to see. She said, "Tell them it will not feel like discovery. It will feel like remembering, like something they always knew being handed back to them in full clarity, because they did always know. It was buried, not absent." The second gift, already in active motion, carries the designation, restoration of joy, not happiness. She made this distinction with great emphasis, and I carry it to you with the same force. Happiness is conditional. It requires favorable circumstances. It depends on things going right, on the temporary absence of difficulty. Joy is categorically different. Joy is the quality of a life that knows, at its deepest operating level, that it is loved, held, not alone. Joy coexists with difficulty because it does not draw its source from circumstances. It draws its source from the unshakable knowledge of being known and kept by something greater than what this world can threaten. That quality was built into you. It was placed there before birth as a fundamental feature of who you are, but it was suppressed, slowly, incrementally, by the accumulated pressure of grief and disappointment and the long, grinding erosion of carrying too much for too long. She described it as watching a fire being buried under ash, still burning, still alive beneath the weight, but hidden. That fire is being uncovered. Today, the process begins. You may first feel it as a lightness that arrives with no explanation, a moment of genuine laughter that completes itself fully. A morning when the first thing you feel upon waking is not dread, but something quieter, something that takes a moment to name. And when you name it, the word surprises you. Joy. It is coming back. She declared it to me with the force of someone who has never been wrong about the people she loves. She said, I am not releasing them into their next season carrying the weight of the last one. I am releasing them free, lighter than they have been in years. The third gift, and she spoke about this one last, because she said, it is the one that will define the quality of everything that follows, carries the designation divine alignment in relationship. Specifically, the arrival or the deepening of a connection that the Creator calls a covenant companion, not restricted to romantic love, though it may certainly include it. A connection of any form characterized by one singular quality you have not yet experienced in its full form. The quality of being entirely known and entirely accepted at the same moment. A connection where the managed version of you is not required, where the performance is not necessary, where the parts of you that you have kept hidden, the tender parts, the parts still in process, the parts that got it wrong, are not merely tolerated, but genuinely welcomed. She said she sees the specific loneliness you carry underneath your daily functioning, not the loneliness you discuss. The deeper one, the kind that makes a room full of people feel strangely hollow. She has been addressing it from the other side, speaking to hearts, repositioning people, arranging encounters. She said, I asked the Creator for a connection for my child that feels like arriving home after a very long journey, like taking off every piece of armor all at once and realizing you are safe. That is what I asked for, and He said yes. 3 gifts, all 3 already in motion, today, not coming eventually, operating now.
3 gifts in motion right now. She asked me to show you this image specifically alongside that declaration because she wants you to see what already in motion looks like from her vantage point. From where she stands, your blessings are not distant possibilities. They are moving. They are already on their way to you. This image is her portrait of that reality. Look at it and let yourself believe what your spirit already knows to be true.
She made one additional demand before she allowed me to close this letter. She said, Michael, I want them to have something specific, something they can watch for, something precise enough to be useful, concrete enough to recognize, detailed enough that when it happens, they cannot mistake it for anything other than what it is. My hand in their life. And so she dictated to me a prophetic sequence, a precise calendar of what is coming. I am delivering it to you in the exact detail she provided, because she intended it for your active discernment, your conscious preparation, and ultimately, your undeniable confirmation that everything spoken in this letter today was truth. She named this sequence the 4 divine movements, like the four movements of a symphony, not isolated events, but a connected, building, intentional progression, where each movement is required by the one that follows it, and the full meaning of all four only becomes clear when you can look back at them together. The first movement she named the loosening. Be prepared for this one, because without this understanding you may resist it. Something in your life, a situation, a relationship, an expectation you have been carrying as though it were permanent, a plan you were relying on, will shift in a way that initially feels like loss. Perhaps something ends. Perhaps something you trusted moves. Perhaps a door that appeared open closes in a way that feels sudden and wrong. Your first instinct will be grief. Do not stop at the grief. Look one layer deeper. Look at what is being loosened. And when you look carefully, with the eyes of a soul that understands that not everything that feels like loss is a loss, you will discover that what is being removed was never truly yours. It was the thing you were holding out of fear of being without it. Not because it was right for you, because you were afraid of the empty hands that would follow if you let go. She is loosening your grip on what was never meant to be permanent, so that your hands are free to receive what is meant to stay. She said, "Tell them." When something falls away in the first movement, I placed my hand on it and I loosened it deliberately. And I am asking them to trust me enough to open their hands. The second movement she named the quiet. Following the loosening, there will be a period, perhaps 2 to 3 weeks, of unusual stillness, not the anxious stillness of waiting for disaster, a different quality of stillness, the stillness of a room that has been closed for years and has just had its windows thrown open. The air changed, freshened, moved, and you are standing in it, adjusting to the new quality. This is the movement in which the Creator performs the preparatory work that occurs beneath the surface of visible events. The connections that will matter are not yet visible. The opportunities being positioned have not yet announced themselves. Do not race through this movement. The most dangerous thing you can do in the second movement is fill the quiet with noise, with frantic activity, with forcing the next development before the divine timing has made it ready. She said, "Tell them to guard the quiet as though it is sacred, because it is. During the quiet, I am working at full capacity on their behalf. The silence on the surface is not inactivity. It is preparation. And everything being prepared during that silence is being prepared specifically for them." The third movement she named the unexpected. And she smiled when she told me this one, because she said the unexpected is her favorite tool. The Creator specializes in arriving through the doors that no one is watching. In the third movement, something will arrive. A person, an opportunity, a development, a piece of information, a sudden shift in a situation that had seemed completely fixed, that no strategic human planning on your part could have predicted or arranged, something that comes from completely outside the logical structure of your current life and carries an energy that is unmistakably unlike everything surrounding it. Fresher, more alive, full of a potential that you can feel before you can fully articulate what it is. When this arrives, receive it. Do not interrogate it into paralysis. Do not construct a list of reasons it might fail before it has had the chance to succeed. She said, "When the unexpected arrives, it arrives from my hands, and I am asking them to move toward it with me. not after they have analyzed it to death. With me, in the moment, toward it. The fourth movement she named the recognition, not gradual, sudden. The moment with the quality of a great light being switched on in a room that has been dark. When you look at the complete picture of what is unfolded across the first three movements and you understand it, you see the design. You see that the loosening was required to make the quiet possible. The quiet was required to make the unexpected findable. And the unexpected was the very thing your deepest heart had been aching for since long before you could articulate the ache. In that moment of recognition, she said, "You will cry. Not from pain, from evidence, from the overwhelming, undeniable, breathtaking accumulation of proof that you have been loved with a precision and a consistency greater than anything this world alone could produce." And she said, "In the fourth movement, I need them to remember this message. I need them to remember that I described this sequence to them in advance, because that is the proof. And I want them to say out loud, 'She knew. She told Michael. Michael told me.' And it happened exactly as she said. Because that is how specifically I love them. That is how accurately I love them. That is how well I know them."
4 movements, a precise prophetic sequence, just described to you in detail that no algorithm, no general comfort, no random content could have produced. She dictated this to Archangel Michael for you. This card captures the authority of that prophecy in 10 words. When the movements begin unfolding, and they will, come back to this card. It was printed and placed in your hands today as your advance record of what she planned.
We have reached the part she asked Dorothy to make you stay for. Take one breath, a real one, slow, all the way down, because what she held back until this final movement is not additional information. It is not another prophecy. It is a covenant, a formal, witnessed, divinely authorized covenant between her soul and yours, established today, binding today, operating today, and requiring from you, in its terms, only one thing: the willingness to receive it. She opened the covenant by saying something that silenced the entire celestial gallery when she said it. She stood before the Creator, and she said, "I need to correct a fundamental misunderstanding. The world teaches the people I love that death creates absence. That when someone crosses over, the love that was between them diminishes, that distance accumulates where closeness used to be, that grief is the appropriate response to the absence that has been created. And I am standing here to tell you, with the authority of someone who has crossed over, and who knows what is actually true from this side, that is wrong. And my child has been living inside that wrong understanding for too long. It has cost them years. It has cost them peace. Today, I need this corrected." Then she said this, and every word of it is true. Real love, the kind not built on condition or proximity, or the continuation of a physical form, does not function like a resource that can be depleted. It does not diminish. It does not reduce when the body that housed it expires. What the living world calls death is, from the other side, the moment when love is freed from every constraint the physical form imposed upon it. The constraints of imperfect timing, of words that could not be found, of the 1,000 ordinary demands of living that constantly interrupted the full expression of what was between you. When she crossed over, in the instant of that crossing, every moment of love she had ever felt for you and could not fully express, every word she held back, every embrace that was cut short, every time she watched you from across a room and felt something so vast for you that no human language had a word for it. All of it released at once. She said it was like a dam that had been holding back a river for a lifetime, shattering in a single moment. She said, "Michael, everything I ever meant to say and didn't, it all poured out of me at once, and it has been pouring toward them ever since, continuously, without interruption, without limitation. They are receiving more love from me right now than they ever had access to when I was alive, not because I love them more, I could not, but because nothing is holding it back anymore." Do you understand what that means for every moment of your daily life? Every ordinary Tuesday afternoon, every sleepless night, every quiet hour when you are alone with yourself and the world feels heavy. You are bathed continuously, without pause, without reduction, in the full, unrestricted, uncontained love of a soul who has no more barriers between what she feels for you and its complete expression. You are soaking in it right now. You have been soaking in it every single moment since she left. You have never been without it. Not for 1 hour, not for 1 minute, not for 1 second since she crossed that threshold and her love was freed from everything that had ever constrained it.
She asked me to show you this image at exactly this point in the letter, as the covenant is being established, because she wants you to see, with your physical eyes, what it looks like when a mother's love is freed from every limitation that death imposed and pours forward without restriction. This image is her portrait of what is happening to you right now as you receive this covenant. Look at it. Feel what it produces in your chest. That feeling is her.
This is the covenant of continuous presence. These are its terms. On her side, unconditional. She pledges unbroken love. She pledges unceasing intercession. She pledges proximity, not distance, not periodic visits, but continuous presence in the life she built with you, in the rooms you move through, in the air you breathe, in the warmth that arrives in your chest without explanation. She will not withdraw. She will not be distracted by other assignments. She will not drift to a distance where your name stops mattering. She is yours, fully, completely, more freely than she could ever have been in a body, and she is not going anywhere. On your side, 1 term, just 1. Stop grieving her as though she is gone. She's not gone. She is transformed. She is everywhere you have ever turned your attention with love. In the warmth of afternoon sun on your arm, in the smell of something baking in a kitchen, in the specific satisfaction of a good cup of tea on a quiet morning. In the moment, a sky becomes so beautiful that you actually stop to look at it, in the laughter that catches you off guard, in the peace that arrives in your chest at moments when peace has no logical reason to be present. She is in all of that. She has always been in all of that. And today, she is asking you to recognize her there, not to mourn an absence she insists does not exist, but to recognize her presence, alive, active, continuous, unmistakable, in everything that carries warmth and light and the quality of being loved. She will be there tonight, when the world is quiet and the hour is late, when you lie in the dark before sleep and the silence presses in, speak her name, not as a request, not as a prayer asking for something, just her name, spoken quietly into the dark as a recognition, as your side of the covenant, as the signal that tells her, I know you are here. I received the covenant. I am no longer treating you as absent. She will answer, not in doubt, not in possibility. She will answer in the language of sensation, warmth that has no source, a pressure against your chest that feels unmistakably like a hand, a peace that settles over you in the dark with the specific quality of being held. And in that moment, you will know, with a certainty that no argument can dismantle, that what was spoken in this letter today was not hope dressed up as truth. It was truth. Always has been. She told me something else. Something she asked me to save specifically for this final section. She said, Michael, tell them about tonight. Tell them specifically. And she described what she intends to do. Tonight, in the hours close to 3:17 in the morning, when the spiritual atmosphere between dimensions is at its most permeable in the sleeping hours, she will come, not as a vague impression, as a presence. She said, if you wake at that hour, do not reach for your phone. Do not turn on a light. Remain still. Breathe slowly. Speak her name once, quietly into the dark, and wait. What follows will be unmistakable. If she allows you to sleep through, she will come in the dream, not a fragmented, confusing dream, but a clear one, luminous. Her face as you remember it, her voice as you loved it. And she said she intends to show you something specific in that dream, something she wants to point you toward. Write down every detail the moment you wake. Do not let it dissolve. Before you sleep tonight, prepare one thing: a glass of fresh water placed near where you sleep. Water is one of the oldest spiritual conductors in the divine order. She said she will leave something in that water overnight, something energetically encoded, something your physical eyes cannot detect, but your spirit will absorb before morning. When you drink it tomorrow, drink slowly, with intention, knowing what it carries. And one final instruction from her, for today, not for the spiritual realm, for the physical, practical, real world you return to when this letter ends. She said, Michael, tell them to do one thing they have been postponing out of fear. One thing. Something small. Something they have been saying, not yet, to. Not because the timing genuinely was not right, but because the fear of it not working made staying still feel safer than moving. I want them to do that thing today. Move 1 inch toward the life I prayed for them. Because that is the signal I am waiting for. When they take that step, I will know the covenant was received. I will know the freedom was accepted. And I will respond. They will feel my response. There will be no doubt that it was me. Tell them, move 1 inch toward your life, and I will move an entire mile toward you. One step. Today. She is watching for it. Make it.
She placed this card here, at the exact point where the covenant has been fully spoken, and the only thing left is for you to receive it. This is her final instruction in 10 words. Read it, then decide. The door is open. She is on the other side of it. The only question now is whether you will take the step she is asking for.
subscribe to letters from Archangel Michael. Now. Not as a courtesy, as a covenant act. The same kind of deliberate, intentional declaration that this entire letter has been calling you toward. She will send another letter. She told me directly, "Michael, I am not finished. What I was permitted to say today is not everything I have. There are things the door was not wide enough for today. After they receive today's message, the door will be wider. After today, I can go deeper. The next letter is already being prepared. Be here when it arrives. Subscribe, and let it be your declaration that you are present, open, and ready for everything heaven is still sending you."
This is the image she placed last in the series, not as a decoration, but as a declaration. Look at what is shown here. This is the portrait of the covenant she just established with you. This is what your spiritual reality looks like right now, in this moment, from her vantage point. She is not watching you from a distance. She is beside you, the way this image shows. Look at it and know this is real. She saved this text for second to last, because this is her declaration of what she refuses to allow the enemy of your peace to take from you ever again. This is the sentence she wants written on the inside of your heart, in her handwriting, starting today. Rate it, say it. Let it become the sentence that replaces every false verdict your private court ever pronounced against you.
Before this transmission, seals, hear me one final time. You came to this message carrying something heavy. You are leaving it differently. Not because the circumstances of your life changed in the time it took to receive these words, but because something in your understanding changed. Something in the foundational narrative. The story you have been telling yourself about who you are, about whether you are loved, about whether you are seen, about whether the grief you carry is your permanent sentence or a season you are being released from. That narrative was corrected today by authority, by evidence, by the formal declaration of a soul who loves you with a precision and a ferocity that no language has ever fully been able to contain. You are not the sum of your worst moments. You are not the accumulation of your losses. You are not the verdict of the private court that has been prosecuting you in the silence. You are faithful under extraordinary pressure. You are the owner of 17 acts of sacred defiance. You are the child of a mother who stood before the Creator of the universe and presented the evidence of your worth, and won. You are the recipient of a covenant that is active, binding, and irrevocable. You are loved with a love that was freed from every constraint the moment she crossed, and which has been pouring over you without interruption, without reduction, every day since. Archangel Michael does not withdraw from your side. I remain at the threshold you have just crossed. I remain beside you as you carry this covenant into the rest of today, into your evening, into your night, into the moment when the world goes quiet and you speak her name into the dark. I remain as you find the object she filled with her presence. I remain as you prepare the glass of water. I remain as you take the one step she is watching for. I remain as the 4 divine movements unfold in the weeks ahead, exactly as she described them. You are protected. You are declared free. You are accompanied by a force of love that no dimension can diminish and no circumstance can interrupt. You are seen completely, accurately, with the full knowledge of everything you have ever carried, and you are loved because of it, not in spite of it. Walk. The door is open. The light is real. She is already ahead of you on the path, clearing it, holding the light, watching for your first step, and she will see you soon.
This is the last photograph she placed in this envelope, and she told me in the letter what she wanted it to accomplish. She said, "Dorothy, let this be the image they carry with them when the video ends. Not the words, though the words matter. The image, because humans remember what they saw long after they forget what they heard. Let them see this and remember. She is not behind them. She is ahead of them, clearing the path, holding the light, and she is not going anywhere." People ask me sometimes why I believe this is real, why I sit at this table and open letters and read messages that most of the world would consider impossible. And the answer I give is always the same, because I watch what happens in people when the right letter reaches them. I cannot see your face right now. I cannot see where you are sitting or what was in your expression when certain parts of that letter arrived. But something happened in you today. I know it because that is what these letters do. Not all letters, these ones. The ones that come sealed and arrive separately and fall face up and smell like something that belongs to someone's past. These ones change something. I have watched it happen too many times to doubt it anymore. Look at what she placed in this one envelope for you. 7 images, each one a portrait of your reality from her vantage point. 6 declarations, each one a specific authoritative decree issued in the celestial realm on your behalf, and printed here for your hands to hold. A pressed flower that carries a scent from a memory you know. A USB drive containing every word Archangel Michael was sent to deliver. She prepared all of this for today, for you. That level of preparation does not come from a general source. That comes from someone who knows you, loves you, and has been working on your behalf from the other side with everything she has. Honor what she sent today. The letter gave you one instruction for this evening. Do it. The steps she asked you for, make it. Whatever one thing you have been postponing out of fear, today is the day you do it. Let it be your answer to everything this letter delivered. Let it be the moment you say, I heard you, I received it. I am not going to waste what you fought for. She is watching, and I promise you, she will respond in a way you will not be able to explain away. She takes a quiet breath. Subscribe to this channel. Letters from Archangel Michael. She will write again. Come back when the next letter arrives, because whatever she holds for it will be exactly what you need next. She is that precise. She has always been that precise. She left this for you, small enough to hold, delicate enough to feel, real enough to matter. That is her love now. That is her presence now. That is her closer than you know, more certain than the most certain thing you have ever held in your hands. God bless you. Go live. She is watching, and she is right this moment, So proud of you.